Once upon a time in the peaceful kingdom of Enchancia, the skies were filled with pastel balloons, and the castle grounds shimmered with banners of blue and gold. It was a day of great joy. Prince Lucien, the youngest child of Queen Sofia the First, and Prince Leo, was turning 2 years old. The entire kingdom was buzzing with excitement. Musicians tuned their instruments, bakers carried trays stacked with honey cakes and enchanted cookies, and the royal garden was transformed into a magical fairy tale playground filled with talking animals, sparkling fountains, and floating lanterns. Inside the castle nursery, Queen Sofia gently adjusted the tiny golden crown on Lucien's soft brown curls. His wide, curious eyes sparkled with wonder as he looked around at the ribbons and fluttering butterflies conjured by the castle's fairy godmothers. Beside her stood Princess Elara, her 3-year-old daughter bright-eyed, bold, and always ready for adventure. Dressed in a lavender gown with flower petals sewn along the hem, Elara twirled in front of the mirror. "Lucien's party is going to be the best ever," she exclaimed. "Can he ride the unicorn carousel with me?" Just then, Prince Leo walked in, carrying a gift wrapped in enchanted silk that shimmered like morning dew. Tall, kind, and always the steady balance to Sofia's heart, Leo leaned down and kissed Lucien's cheek. "Happy birthday, my little lion," he said softly. "Ready for your royal celebration?" Lucien babbled happily and clapped his chubby hands. Down in the castle courtyard, guests from kingdoms near and far arrived, royal friends, fairies, magical creatures, and talking animals alike. Cedric the sorcerer had enchanted the garden maze to glow with golden sparkles, and Clover the rabbit wore a tiny party hat as he supervised the cupcake table. Bailiwick, ever the organized steward, announced the guests with flair. Introducing Princess Hildegard and Princess Cleo, King Roland and Queen Miranda, Sir Gilliam of Friesenberg. Everyone applauded as the royal family made their entrance. Queen Sofia walked gracefully, holding Lucien in her arms while Elara waved proudly to the crowd. The magical celebration began with music played by fairies riding atop hummingbirds, followed by dancing dragons, and a cake that floated in the air before landing on a crystal table. Bailiwick, ever the organized steward, announced the guests with flair. Introducing Princess Hildegard and Princess Cleo, King Roland and Queen Miranda, Sir Gilliam of Friesenberg. Everyone applauded as the royal family made their entrance. Queen Sofia walked gracefully, holding Lucien in her arms while Elara waved proudly to the crowd. The magical celebration began with music played by fairies riding atop hummingbirds, followed by dancing dragons and a cake that floated in the air before landing on a crystal table. Elara pulled Lucien toward the unicorn carousel. It was built especially for today, with glowing manes, wings that flapped gently, and seats shaped like stars. Lucien hesitated for a moment, eyes wide at the majestic creatures, but Elara took his hand. "It's okay, Lulu," she whispered. "I'll hold on tight." Lucien nodded and climbed up beside her. As the carousel spun gently, he giggled with joy, his laughter echoing like wind chimes. All the guests cheered. After the ride, Sofia and Leo invited everyone to gather for the royal gift-giving. First came a soft blanket woven from moonbeam threads by the weavers of Glendale, then a book of enchanted lullabies from the fairy queen of Floravia. Elara gave Lucien a hand-drawn picture of the whole family holding hands under a rainbow. "This is us," she said proudly. "And this is our castle. And look, I drew your teddy bear too." Lucien hugged the picture, then hugged Elara. "Lara!" The guests sighed in adoration. Even Cedric wiped a tear. As the sun began to set, Leo took Lucien in his arms and raised him high. "To Prince Lucien," he said with a smile, "may your days be full of adventure, your heart full of kindness, and your life filled with the love of this kingdom." "Long live Prince Lucien!" the guests cheered. Sofia looked around the garden. The lanterns now glowed gently in the twilight, the stars beginning to twinkle above. She felt tears prick her eyes, not from sadness but from overwhelming joy. This kingdom she once entered as a simple village girl was now her home, her heart, and her legacy. Lucien curled sleepily into her arms. "Mama," he murmured. "Yes, my love," she whispered, kissing his forehead. "You've made this day more magical than anything I could have ever dreamed." Later that night, after the celebration had ended and the castle grew quiet, Sofia, Leo, Elara, and Lucien sat by the grand fireplace in the royal family room. Lucien, now dressed in soft pajamas covered in tiny stars, held his new moonbeam blanket and leaned against Sofia. "I think he had fun," Leo said, sipping warm spice cider. "He had the best birthday ever," Elara added, yawning. "Because he had all of us," Sofia said warmly. Leo wrapped his arm around Elara. "And we'll always be here for every birthday, every step, every dream." Elara climbed into her mother's lap. "Can we always have birthdays like this? Maybe not always this grand," Sofia chuckled, "but always full of love." Lucien gave a soft, sleepy sigh and closed his eyes, surrounded by his family, their warmth, their love, and the gentle glow of a happy ever after. And so, in the kingdom of Enchancia, under a moonlit sky filled with stars, Queen Sofia the First, Prince Leo, Princess Elara, and Prince Lucien ended a day of laughter, magic, and memories ready for the many birthdays and adventures still to come. The end.